The Memphis Grizzlies taking Zach Edey reminds me of one of my daughter's favorite movies, which is Shrek. Shrek. If you ever watched Shrek, Shrek was this dude. He was this ogre who went to this castle to get back his land that Lord Farquaad had put all these fairy tale animals on. And Lord Farquaad just looked at him as some big, ugly ogre. It was like, go do big, ugly ogre stuff. And then all of a sudden, this ogre did way more than anything he could have ever expected it to do. Shrek was athletic as hell. If you watch that movie, I watched it about a billion times because I got a kid. And if you got a kid, then you've probably seen it a billion times too. Shrek was out there doing WWE, and you see how old I am because I remember WWE, WWE wrestling moves, knocking over soldiers, jump, kick in the air, backflips, landing on cats. He was running across bridges, jumping on dragons, slinging around. I mean, it was probably one of the most athletic. He looked really just like a green Charles Barkley. You know what I mean? Like, for real. Like, way more athletic than he really looks. But this big dude was just round and mean and doing his thing. And everyone underestimated him. Everyone. Everyone. And I feel like that's what's happening with Zach Edey and the Memphis Grizzlies. Zach Edey, he's somebody that if you listen to him, and I realize a lot of people are just novice fans that just listen to whatever ESPN talks about. But one of the things that was being talked about slowly but surely throughout this draft process was understanding that Zach Edey was not a finished product. That he had only started playing organized competitive basketball over the last 6 seasons, right? Last 6 years. And in so quickly elevated himself, ended up at one of the more prestigious high school athletic development programs in IMG Academy. Then he goes on to Purdue, one of the more prestigious Division One NCAA programs. And then he dominates for the past 2 years, being an All American and the Naismith Player of the Year. Zach Edey has done nothing but show us that he is going to continue to progress and improve. And if you saw in the NBA draft combine process, not only had he lost weight and trimmed down to be a little bit lighter on his feet, but he had also shown far more impressive lateral mobility and agility than anybody really thought he was going to be able to do. Not just that, but he showed a shooting touch, which he started to try to expand last season at Purdue, showing that not only does he have soft hands to be able to catch the ball on post entry passes and lobs and to be able to finish inside with both hands with excellent post footwork, utilizing his size and mass to be able to dominate in the NCAA, he also showed that he can be somebody who can be relied upon for starting minutes. And I think what the Memphis Grizzlies essentially saw in him has to be something between Jonas Valanciunas and Steven Adams. Two bigs that did fairly well with the ascension of this Memphis Grizzlies team that has transitioned from their grit and grind roster with Marc Gasol and Zach Randolph into the team that they are today. And one thing that we realized that without a Steven Adams or a Jonas Valanciunas, this Memphis Grizzlies team is awfully small. And Jaren Jackson Jr., for all his talent at 6'10" and 7'4" wingspan, his ability to defend the rim and out on the perimeter and shoot threes and attack you off the dribble, the one thing he can't do is play big. We saw that during Team USA's FIBA run last year, and we saw it all this past season. He's going to struggle to control the glass. He's going to struggle to bring the requisite physicality to free guards up on screens. He is not somebody that's going to be able to hold down the interior for you. And so they went out and got the best guy to do just that. Somewhere between a Valanciunas and a Steven Adams, Zach Edey is going to be able to score on the interior. He's going to be able to run pick and roll effectively, catch lobs, post up a little bit, and set monster screens. One of the things that I heard this one commentator on, I think it was for Bleacher Report. He was complaining about how Ja Morant is one of the fastest players in the league, and Zach Edey is not going to be able to score in transition with him. And my response to that was, who cares? Who cares what big man can keep up with Ja Morant? And why do they need their center to do so? You still got Jaren Jackson Jr. running up and down in transition. You still got guys like Zaire Williams, who's 6'9", and they still got Gigi Jackson at 6'8", and they still got everybody else who's able to run with them, even though they're not really a heavy transition team. What they're really looking for is the very thing that they lost, which was somebody in the middle to free him up on screens. What they were missing was somebody who can dominate on the interior and secure defensive rebounds so they can get out and transition in the first place. And that is something that they found in the most dominant interior force the NCAA has seen probably over the last 10 to 15 plus years. Zach Edey at 7'4" with his 10 wingspan is going to be able to dominate on the interior. And when you think about what it looks like in a pick and roll, when you have to choose between John Morant headed downhill or a 7'4" big man with soft hands who can catch and finish over just about anything you got down there, that is going to be a scary component added to the resurging Memphis Grizzlies team. If you watch my previous video on the Memphis Grizzlies, they're one of the teams that I feel like is going to be able to have one of the biggest bounce backs that we've seen probably since the Golden State Warriors, where they lost in the NBA Finals, and then 2 years later, or I think it was 1 year later, they were back in the NBA Finals, right, beating the Boston Celtics. I think you're going to see something similar. I got the Memphis Grizzlies as a top 2 seed that's going to be able to not just have probably an MVP candidate in John Morant, but they're going to be a favored team to win it all. They're going to be a team that is able to do exactly what the Minnesota Timberwolves did, was have 2 bigs who can neutralize Nikola Jokic and have enough perimeter defense with guys like Vince Williams to be able to slow down a Jamal Murray and still have the type of dominant offensive players in a John Morant and Desmond Bane and Jaren Jackson Jr. who can buoy the attack coming from a Denver Nuggets, coming from a Dallas Mavericks, coming from a Phoenix Suns. They're going to be a team that's going to be built for the regular season and the playoffs, which is rare in the NBA. But as always, I want to know what you all think of this Zach Edey acquisition in the draft. I think that it was probably one of the best things that they could do. I liked him over Donovan Clingan because I feel like Zach Edey can actually play starting minutes. I don't think anybody has spoken of Donovan Clingan and said that they foresee him being able to play starting minutes, to be able to play 30-plus minutes for an 82-game season. He's already had foot injuries and things of that nature. But I am going to do a video on the Portland Trailblazers, so watch out for that to come. But as always, if you enjoyed the video, like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. Share this video in your group chats and let me know what you think in the comment section. I'm going to get at you there. Peace.